Well, folks, welcome back. We're now beginning the restoration of this pipe. This is the Mr. Roberts Billiard that I've described in the previous video, and making some progress. I've already done quite a bit of cleaning, and I'll sort of take you through what I've done so far and tell you what the next steps are. So the pipe has been topped as I had mentioned I would. So we've sanded down the top of this, gotten rid of those nicks that are around the edges, and brought that to 400 grit, so it's got a nice smooth top now. I have reamed the interior of the pipe, and it's actually been reamed back down to pretty much to the bare briar, so that's really ready to be smoked at this point. On the exterior, I did a relatively quick wash with ethanol just to kind of cut through the wax, and then I've sanded it down to 400 grit, and as you can see, that's taken the finish off and really left us with just the bare briar. The grain, as expected, is not without interest, but not necessarily fantastic either. But there's some areas, there's some really nice bird's eye in there that I'm looking forward to trying to accentuate. I've sanded everything except I was careful not to sand around the imprint because it is somewhat light. So that's just been cleaned off with alcohol and very lightly sanded. And you can see where the briar was buffed. There's still some of that shininess to it. The fills are there, and there's actually a fair number of them. You can see a couple of them contrasting here. They're not a light color fill. The filler that was used was actually a fairly dark color. And I think I'm going to just leave that as is. I'm not going to try to really do very much with them. You can see there's that large one right here. I'm going to stain this, and we'll see how it comes. I'm going to use a contrast stain. Actually, I'm going to use black on this, so I'll actually warm the pipe and put a black stain in, let it set, and then I will sand that back so that all of the softer areas between the grain, I'll be able to remove the black stain and hopefully just leave the grain itself stained very dark. And then I'll come back with probably a walnut stain on top of that to fill in between the grain. And we'll see how that looks. Hopefully it'll accentuate the grain on this pipe and really bring out some of the features and also help disguise some of those fills a bit better. So that's where we are with the stummel. I've cleaned the internals completely, so this is all clean, and I've spent quite a bit of time getting the inside of this clean, and it now quite easily passes a pipe cleaner. Even the wide end goes through with no problem at all. When I started out, I could not even get the thin end of this through, so there was a lot of buildup in here. And the same on the stem. I haven't done anything to the outside of the stem yet, but I have cleaned up the stinger and the inside. The stinger, actually, it is a removable stinger, which is nice, because most folks want to take this off. And, boy, God bless the person that invented stingers. I do not understand them at all. But the only airway in this pipe when the stinger is in place is right here. Get my little pointer here. Is right through here. That is the only airway. Everything else is sealed up. And it's also the only place where a pipe cleaner could possibly go. It of course doesn't fit through there. And I don't think this stinger was ever removed. So this stem was completely blocked. You could not get the pipe cleaner past about there once it was in. And it really took a long time to get this cleaned out. I had to heat up the stinger just to get it loose and was able to remove it. So this has now been completely cleaned and shined up a bit with some steel wool. And the pipe cleaner now goes straight on through. So we got a nice wide open airway. If we leave the stinger off, this will smoke just fine. If we I'll include the stinger with this when I send it out in case the person either is collecting and wants a complete pipe, or maybe they like stingers. There are a few people that actually do like them. And that's where things stand right now. So the internals of this are perfectly clean. The stummel is ready to be stained, and the stem is ready to be cleaned up by standard measures. So I think I'm going to pause at that point, and I will bring you back once the staining's done, actually what I'll do is I'll call this video to an end, and there'll be one more video in the series where I will show you the stained pipe before it's buffed and the stem after it's cleaned, and then we'll put everything back together and she'll be ready to go. So thank you for watching, and I will talk to you again soon. Goodbye now.